It's day 2! So hey, I'm Lil and welcome to Bullet Journal Basics. Over this week I have 7 videos covering what I think as the most important aspects of bullet journaling for beginners. I've been journaling for 4 years. It's been 84 years. And over the past year I've even built my entire business around it. Bullet journaling is my life. So I really hope that you get something from the course. You can come join us over on the Bujo Cult Facebook group. It's linked below, and you can find my Instagram and my Etsy store linked below as well at Bujo Cult and Bujo Cult on Etsy. Obviously it's all the same. Yesterday's video was a huge info dump of the system of bullet journaling and how setting up and how you can set up your first journal and stuff like that. This video is about goal settling. This video is about goal setting using the bullet journal system. So if you don't know what that is yet, please check out the previous video. I'm not very good at introductions, so we're just gonna do the thing now. There are so many different techniques for setting and meeting your goals. Mine might not work for you, though I really hope they do. But I fully encourage you to try others and try different ones to really kind of tweak it and find out what's your perfect system. You can mix and match and twist systems together, which is exactly what I've done, to develop something that fits you perfectly. I still consider mine a work in progress because I think it's always going to be a work in progress as times change and my life change and my needs change. But this system has been over 4 years in the making, and at the moment it is a million times better than when I started out. So I'm really hoping that this helps you kind of skip to the end a little bit more and miss out some of that messy middle section that I went through. You can learn from my mistakes rather than making them all yourself. You learn very well from mistakes, so maybe that's a good thing to do. I wouldn't know. So step 1 is learning to set good goals. So I break it up into good goals, messy goals, and bad goals. And sometimes it can be really hard to distinguish between them. But here's a rough definition for each. A bad goal is something that is genuinely detrimental to your well-being. So I put on a lot of weight after my second child. Before lockdown, I had a goal to start losing some and generally live a healthier lifestyle by cutting out carbs, because carbs. All of my meals were based around pasta and bread and things like that, and I figured if I was going to start making these healthy changes, I needed to learn to cook things that weren't relying on them and like cut out junk food and start making healthier choices for myself. At work, I would always take the lift up 5 flights, which, you know, it was a lot of stairs. But I started making the choice of like, I'll walk the first flight of stairs and then I'll take the lift up the next 4 floors just to kind of ease myself into it. So I was going about everything in really quite a healthy way, and I was losing weight and I was feeling a lot better about myself. And then lockdown hit. Yay! And then lockdown hit. I couldn't keep up the diet because now I was having meals with my family all the time and I'm not forcing them into a low carb diet. There's no more stairs. I live in a bungalow. I mean, and all the boredom eating and depression. My mental health went on a roller coaster over lockdown and my self-esteem just totally plummeted. So for me to make that weight loss goal now would actually be really detrimental to my mental health. I'm no longer in a place where I'm able to take that on, and recognizing that as a bad goal is make sure that I'm not setting myself up for failure and that I can look at it a different way to how I might be able to get there in the future. A bad goal tends to be something that is impossible for you to achieve. A messy goal is something kind of vague. I'll talk about this a little more in the good goal section, but a messy goal would be lose weight, whereas I had it planned out of like lose this much in this amount of time. It was a very reasonable amount. You know, have at least 2 meals a day that had no carbs, aim for 3, and make healthier choices like taking first flight of stairs and move up from there to like 2 flights if I can, but just 1 flight of stairs a day. That's all I was aiming for. Really simple, quantifiable, every day tick off. Every day I was at work anyway. So a messy goal is not quantifiable. They're more abstract things that are harder to achieve. I have a messy-ish goal at the moment, and I'll talk how I'm kind of breaking that down into more quantifiable steps. And a messy goal could be something that doesn't actually do anything for you, and it doesn't get you any closer to where you want to be and what you want to do. So good goals means they're precise and clear. They're actionable, and you can break them down into lots of planned tasks. They're realistic and they're achievable, even if they seem like they're something quite big. They're things that matter to you, and the idea of achieving them should fill your wee heart with joy and get you kind of feeling a bit giddy about it. So an exercise to weed out those bad and messy goals would be to brain dump out a huge list of all the things you'd like to achieve. So these could be huge things, they could be mundane things, things you never think will happen in your life, things that you could do in 5 minutes tomorrow if you needed to. Don't judge any of them, just get them all out of your head. Bullet journals are excellent places to do stuff like this because you can always look back at them later. It's a nice kind of how far have you come sort of thing, or just to remind you where your focus is. In the Bujo Cult group, there'll be a printable worksheet for this task, but honestly I think it's best to do it in a journal. It's set up so that you can print it in A5, and this means that if you don't have a journal set up right now, or you don't have a journal at all, you can always do the task and then stick it into your journal later on. Or if you're still in the process of setting up your journal, you could always turn to one of the back pages and do it there, so it's kind of out of the way of your nice pretty new setup or something. So eventually you will have your monster list, and it will probably be very intimidating and very overwhelming. I'm overwhelmed very easily though, maybe that's just me. So next, take a little time to go down the list and put a star next to the things that feel really important to you. And then cross out any that you think, actually this isn't important to me at all, I don't need to do this. And you'll be probably left with quite a few in the middle that are really mundane kind of tasks. And they're tasks that need done rather than like goals to work towards. You might even look at a bunch of the important ones and see that they actually all fall into the same goal. Like if one of your important things you've written down is like you need to clear out the house, like I don't know, Marie Kondo that shit or something. You might also have things on that list that are like clear out old kids' toys or clean the kitchen cupboards. I don't know, stuff like that. And you might be able to group them up into like all under one big umbrella of Marie Kondo the house. So look at your list and see if you can find like 3 or 4 things that really speak to you and you really feel are your most important goals for just now. Sorry if there's a bit of a continuity shift. My camera overheated and I went to go and get lunch. That sounds like I went from a fancy. I went to my kitchen. It's usually best to have these things as something that's like gonna take about 3 to 12 months to complete. If it's something that you feel is even longer term than that, see if you can break it down to something that you feel you could comfortably do within 12 months. We want them to be long term, but we don't want them to take years and years and years, as you can kind of lose momentum on goals like that. Whereas if you feel like you've achieved one big goal in a year or less, then you can move on to like the next big goal, even if they're leading up to an even bigger goal. That makes sense, right? Cool. So next we want to give them deadlines, and these need to be things that are realistic for you to achieve. It's better to give yourself a couple of months of buffer room than it is to feel like you're constantly not meeting your goals. It doesn't matter if you take a couple of months longer to achieve something, but that kind of stuff, like psychologically, I think it nips away at us a little bit. So do future you a favor and give yourself a little bit of extra time. So here's 3 of mine. I want to start a Patreon, and I want to have this done by June of 2022. So that's a year and some buffer room. I want to really work on and improve my self-care. So this is obviously an ongoing thing, and this is the kind of messy goal here. But I want to have some better things in place, and what I'm going to do is review this goal in December of this year. And from there I can assess like what steps did I take and what steps do I need to take, and I'll go into this in a lot more detail in a second. And I want to learn to drive! Ideally I want to get this done as soon as physically possible, but I'm giving myself until this time next year so that I'm taking into account any little lockdowns that might be happening, anything like that. Also the fact that it's going to take me a long time to learn to drive. I'm bad at it. I might have some other stuff in the works and another goal going on. Now, I might tell you about it at some point. Not now though. Not ready to talk about it yet. So now I have these goals, I need to break them up into actionable steps. And tasks. Actionable tasks. Yeah. The Patreon goal is a big goal with a lot of things I want to achieve in the lead up to it. So I'm gonna put that one aside just for now. And let's break down the driving one. First, I need to renew my provisional license. It's been a while. I need to research I need to research instructors and prices and what I can afford and stuff like that. I need to book the lessons. I need to take the lessons. And when it gets to the stage, what I might do is have a conversation with the instructor and ask them, like, how many lessons do you think it's going to take me? And then I can kind of tick them off as I go, get closer to the goal, things like that. It's nice to see some kind of visual version of your progress, because sometimes we just can't see the woods for the trees, and seeing something get closer and closer is nice. Also, it's going to take me a lot of lessons, so I need to study for my theory test. I need to book my theory test. I need to pass my theory test and take the test. I need to book my driving test, and I need to do the driving test and hopefully pass it. So now I have these tasks all here. Some of them are going to be really quick and easy to do, and some of them are going to take a lot more time. Some of them, as soon as they're done, they're ticked off, and some of them kind of break up into even more tasks that need to be done before I can tick off, like the driving lessons. And you'll notice that I've put them in order on this goals page just for my messy brain to be able to understand it at a glance. If you're not sure if you can think about them in order, like the Patreon one, I'm gonna have to sit down and kind of work out what the actual order I'm doing things in is. Then you might want to do that again on a different page, chuck it in the back of your journal or on a separate piece of paper, whatever, just to get your brain thinking chronologically. So renewing my driving license is something I can do now, like this week. So I'll pop that task in this month's to-do list. And in fact, already I can just pop that task into next week on Monday. Researching local instructors and their prices shouldn't take too long either. So it's something that can probably go into that next month's task list as well. But one thing I do need to do is find out what the lockdown rules are with driving lessons before. No, that'll like literally take 5 minutes. So I'm just gonna put that on Monday as well. I could do it now, but like, I'm doing this now. Booking lessons. So this is something I can't really do or think about until I've researched the instructors and the prices and worked out how often I can have lessons, all of that kind of stuff. So I'm going to put it on the task list for this month. If for some reason I can't get around to it, I'm not going to beat myself up about it. Hopefully once I've researched the instructors, I can just put that into a week at some point, but So studying for theory tests, that's kind of like an ongoing thing. I can subscribe to Terry Cook's podcast on theory things, and I'll link that below as well. I've heard very good things about it. Realistically, I'm probably not gonna study until I'm doing lessons, but subscribing to a podcast doesn't hurt anyone, so I'll put that on the Monday as well. It takes 2 seconds. I could do it now, but like, this time, driving time. Look at the tasks. And that's as much as I can do for now. So next month I'll look back on this goals list and I'll see what steps can I take next. So maybe that's like implementing some vague kind of study schedule for sitting a theory test, or maybe it'll be booking the lessons, or maybe it'll be doing the lessons. I don't really know what's going to happen over this month, so that's a next month problem. But I know that next month when I'm setting that up, I look at this goals list and I think, what's next? And that way I'm getting closer. So the improving self-care goal is a messy goal. So I'd like to talk about this one. I try not to set messy goals, but this one's important to me. So my whole focus for this year is on my self-care. For the past many years, I have been juggling kids and self-employment, college for a while. a long time of scraping by on basically no money and mental health things in general, and I'm finally at a point in my life where I feel like I'm stable enough that I can really focus on myself. And a part of that is thanks to Bujo cults. Thank you very much, I love you. So to try and achieve this abstract concept kind of goal, I'm going to create things that are quantifiable. So to start with, I'm gonna say that I need to achieve 3 things from the self-care bingo board a week. Just 3. If I can achieve 3, fabulous. In a couple of months, maybe I'll want to achieve 4 or 5, but for now, 3 simple self-care acts a week. I've also started doing shadow work, which is kind of like in-depth journaling, therapy, witchiness. I've only just started that, so I don't feel qualified to talk about that in any way with any authority of any kind. But I've started doing that. So a goal is to have 1 day a week where I spend even 5 minutes. Is 5 minutes enough? Maybe an hour. Let's start with like 20 minutes, okay? I'll start 20 minutes every week on that. I haven't had therapy in quite a long time, so maybe it'll help like underlying issues. There's not a nice way to put this task down. I'm trying to sort of really think about it. Hopefully by the time that I'm filming the segment where I'm writing the stuff, I will have thought about it. But I also want to say no more and be more protective of my space and my time. And one of the ways I'm going to do that is actually to take a huge big step back from my costuming work. I'm actually thinking of kind of closing shop. Not that I have a shop there anymore, but like, yeah, being closed for commissions for like a year or something like that. Juggling both Bujo cult and the costume stuff is maybe just a little bit too much, and I need to make some choices where I'm kinder to myself. So I need to finish up my costume work so I can just... I'm also looking into getting a ADD diagnosis, possibly, or like at least speaking to somebody who's professional in that area who can say like, hey, you're definitely on the wrong road here, you are not ADHD, or yes, there is the ADHD. So that's like a goal and a task, but I don't think that's gonna happen for the next like 6 months because of lockdown-y things and stuff. So this goal is a lot more about forming new habits. So it might need some tweaking as I go along, and it's probably going to evolve quite a bit over the year. But I'm putting that deadline of in December, I am going to spend some time thinking about the steps I took and what steps I could take in the future and all of that kind of stuff. What worked, what didn't, what succeeded, what didn't, all that kind of thing. We are capable of so much more than we think we are. When you have big dreams, or big plans, or big mental health issues, it can seem so overwhelming and impossible to do anything. Does breaking down your goals like this mean that they will magically happen? No. Jesus, no. You still have to do the work to get there. But by breaking them down into these bite-sized chunks, the work appears much more manageable and much easier to approach, making it a lot less scary and overwhelming and a lot more achievable. So I really hope this video has worked. Please share in the group. Maybe if you're willing to, you don't have to share with anybody, but if you'd like to, share your goals, let's talk about it, and we can help each other if we're struggling to think about how we could break them down or how to change a messy goal into a neater one or something like that. We're here to support each other, I hope. If you're not here to support each other, what are you doing here? I'm here to support you, and I want the best for you, and I want you to be able to go out and achieve the things that you always wanted to achieve. Do the things! And I think in the future for the group we'll have a lot of goal setting and a lot of goal related things. I'm big on the goals. I like the sense of achievement. It gives a momentary release to the constant anxiety of failure. So yeah, again, you can find the Bujo Cult group down below, linked in the video. Find us on, I say us, find me on Instagram at Bujo Cult. And you can find my Etsy linked below as well if you have that sweet, sweet sticker addiction. I am bad at intros and I am bad at outros, so I'm just gonna go now. Thank you very much, I love you, I'll see you in the next video.